Ever wondered which countries are not so welcoming to Americans? In this interconnected world, certain nations may not give the warmest welcomes to Americans due to political tensions and ongoing conflicts. We'll explore these countries and the reasons behind it. Before we start, if you enjoy our content, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more, and leave a comment. First on the list, we're looking at North Korea. Relationship between North Korea and the US is marked by tension and mistrust, and travel by Americans is generally prohibited. Strict rules and potential dangers make it an unfavorable destination. So, perhaps North Korea might not be the best travel destination for Americans. Next up we have Iran. It's a land of rich history, with political tensions with the US shaping a tricky landscape for American travelers. Visa hassles, potential hostility, and an unpredictable environment make the journey uncertain. But remember, this doesn't reflect the attitude of all Iranians, many of whom are welcoming and eager to share their culture. So, until things take a turn for the better, traveling to Iran as an American might prove quite challenging. Moving on, let's discuss Syria. This Middle Eastern nation has been in conflict for years, creating a hazardous locale for travelers, including Americans. The ongoing war has led to daily violence and instability. The U.S. Department of State strongly dissuades travel to Syria due to terrorism and unrest. The dangers are very real and present in Syria, and the current situation is far from conducive to tourism or travel. Syria might not be your safest bet for a travel destination. Now let's talk about Venezuela. This South American nation is a hotspot of unrest, affecting ties with the U.S. largely due to contrasting ideologies and financial disputes. These tensions have begun impacting American travel experiences, with hindrances in visa acquisition and potential risks on entering Venezuela, including arbitrary arrest. The crisis has caused shortages of fundamental goods, creating additional challenges for travelers. Moreover, the U.S. Department of State has issued a Level 4 travel advisory, cautioning against travel due to crime, civil unrest, and inadequate health facilities. In light of these issues, Venezuela may not be the most welcoming place for American travelers. Let's take a closer look at our next destination, Cuba, a place where the rhythmic music, vintage cars, and the aroma of Cuban cigars are as iconic as its political standing. Despite the slight improvements in diplomatic relations between the U.S. and Cuba, American travelers still face a myriad of challenges. The U.S. government imposes travel restrictions, limiting reasons for travel to categories like family visits, official government business, and humanitarian projects, among others. The ongoing political differences between the two nations also contribute to a somewhat strained reception for U.S. tourists. While you might be lured by the charm of Havana's Old Town, the pristine beaches of Varadero, or the historical allure of Trinidad, the reality of visiting as an American is more complex. So while Cuba's vibrant culture and rich history are undeniably captivating, it may not be the most welcoming place for American travelers, at least for now. Remember, always stay updated with the latest travel advisories before planning your trip. Next, we venture into the vast expanse of Russia, a nation that stretches across 11 time zones, from the Baltic coast to the Far Eastern wilderness. The country's rich history, architectural grandeur, and diverse landscapes make it an intriguing destination. However, political strain between the U.S. and Russia has led to suspicion and scrutiny, creating potential hurdles for American travelers. Americans must secure a visa to travel to Russia, and the process can be complex and time-consuming. Once there, the language barrier and cultural differences may present additional challenges. While the allure of iconic sites like the Red Square, the Kremlin, and the Hermitage Museum is undeniable, the reality of visiting as an American is layered with complexities. So, while Russia's vast landscapes and cultural richness are undeniably fascinating, it may not be the most welcoming place for American travelers, at least for now. Always remember to do your research and stay informed about the current political climate before planning your visit. Moving on to Iraq, a cradle of civilization that has been scarred by years of conflict. Iraq's rich history and diverse culture are overshadowed by its high-risk environments and ongoing unrest. The U.S. Department of State advises U.S. citizens against all travel to Iraq due to terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Furthermore, the U.S. government has limited ability to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in Iraq. The remnants of ancient civilizations, such as Babylon and Nineveh, may pique the interest of history enthusiasts, but the perilous security situation makes Iraq a precarious destination for Americans. So, While Iraq's historical significance and cultural richness are undeniably captivating, it may not be the most welcoming place for American travelers, at least for now. Next up, we're venturing into Yemen, a country that may not be on most people's travel bucket lists, and for good reason. Yemen, like Iraq, is marred by ongoing unrest and high-risk environments. The U.S. Department of State also advises U.S. citizens against all travel to Yemen due to terrorism, civil unrest, health risks, and armed conflict. Not to mention the U.S. government, like in Iraq, has limited ability to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in Yemen. Despite its rich history and unique cultural heritage, the current security situation in Yemen makes it a precarious destination for Americans. So while Yemen might offer an intriguing blend of history and culture, it might not be the most welcoming place for American travelers. Once again, prioritizing safety is paramount when considering your next travel destination. Next on our list, we're heading to Somalia, a country that, like Yemen, is far from an ideal vacation spot for most. Plagued by high-risk environments and ongoing unrest, Somalia presents a multitude of challenges for any would-be visitor. The U.S. Department of State underscores these risks, advising U.S. citizens against all travel to Somalia due to terrorism, piracy, crime, civil unrest, and severe droughts. Just like in Yemen and Iraq, the U.S. government has limited ability to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in Somalia. Despite the country's rich history and vibrant culture, the current security situation makes it a precarious destination for Americans. So while the allure of Somalia's unique heritage might be intriguing, it's crucial to remember that safety should always be the top priority when choosing your next travel destination. We've now come to our final destination, Libya. Once a popular tourist spot with its stunning Roman and Greek ruins, Libya, like Somalia and Yemen, is now marred by high-risk environments and continuous unrest. The U.S. Department of State advises against all travel to Libya due to terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. The ever-changing security situation in Libya makes it a risky proposition for U.S. citizens, as the U.S. government's ability to provide emergency services is severely limited. Despite its rich historical attractions and beautiful Mediterranean coast, the current circumstances make it a dangerous choice for American travelers. So, as captivating as Libya's historical treasures might be, it's crucial to remember that safety comes first. In the current scenario, Libya might not be the most welcoming place for American travelers.